Hello, everybody. I'm Parsha Becky, and we are back for another week of Parsha. As I'm sure you recall, we are currently in the middle of the first book of Chumash, the book of Bereishit, which means at the start. And we are at the start of the Torah. We are at the start of the whole world. We are at the start of our story. And this week's Parsha is called Vayera, which means he appeared. And it's called that because at the start of the Parsha, Hashem appears to Abraham, and God is all ready to have a conversation with Abraham when Abraham sees three men walking by, and Abraham says, "Oh, wait, Hashem, I got to put you on hold because it looks like I have some guests coming." And Abraham runs over to the three guys and he says, "Please come over. I want you to come to my house. You'll be my guests. I'll give you some water and some food. You can sit in the shade. I'll make you comfortable." And they're like, "Okay, we'll stay for a bit." And he runs inside his tent. He says, "Sarah, quick, get out the best flour and the nicest ingredients. We're going to make some wonderful cakes for these guests." And he runs over to his servants. He says, "Okay, guys, we're going to get out a really good cow. We're going to cook up some great steaks for these guests." And he takes some butter and some bread to give them a snack while they're waiting for the main meal. And he gives them food. And he's standing there making them comfortable. And his guests say, "Hey, Abraham, where is your wife, Sarah?" And Abraham says, "Oh, Sarah's right there inside the tent. She's right there." And they say, "Oh, yeah, because we heard some cool news about Sarah. We heard that in 1 year, Sarah is going to have a baby." And Sarah hears this, and Sarah, Sarah starts laughing. Sarah, Sarah's like, "That's the funniest thing I've heard all year. I'm almost 90 years old. I'm too old to have a baby, but it's a great joke." And Hashem's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Sarah. Why are you laughing? I'm Hashem, and I say that you're going to have a baby next year. Nothing's impossible for Hashem." And Sarah's like, "What? Me? Laughing? I wasn't laughing." And Hashem's like, "Come on. I'm God. I know you were laughing." So the guests finish their meal, and they say, "Thank you so much, Abraham. This was great. Now we got to go. We've got an appointment in Sdom." So Abraham walks them out, and he says goodbye to them. And then Abraham says, "Okay, Hashem, my guests are gone. Sorry for putting you on hold. What were you about to say?" And Hashem says, "Okay, I actually wanted to let you know what I'm planning, Abraham, because I don't want to keep secrets from you. I wanted to let you know that the city of Sdom and the other four cities nearby, for a total of 5 cities, are so bad. All the people there are just so bad. They do bad things all day that I've decided to destroy those cities." And Abraham's like, "Whoa, wait a second. That's not fair, Hashem. You have to be fair. It's your job to be fair, and you're not being fair. You can't just destroy these cities because there are some bad people in them. What about the good people? What is this collective punishment business, Hashem?" Abraham's like, "Hang on. What if there's like 50 good people in those cities?" "I think," Abraham says, "if there's 50 good people, you should not punish any of them. You should just let the whole city not be destroyed." And Hashem's like, "You know what? Okay, that's fair. If there's 50 good people in those cities, I won't destroy the cities at all." And everyone's like, "Okay, but hang on. You have to be fair about it. Like, what if like there's almost 50 people, but they're missing 5? What? Just because they're missing 5, you're going to destroy the whole city? That's not fair." And Hashem's like, "Abraham, I know how to do math as well as you can. What you're saying is not 50 missing 5. You're saying 50 minus 5 equals 45. Sure, if there's 45 good people in those cities, I will not destroy the cities." And everyone's like, "Okay, thank you. That's good. But what about if there's 40? And God's like, "Okay, if there's 40 good people in the cities, I won't destroy the cities either." And everyone's like, "Please don't get mad, but I have another question. What if there's 30 good people?" And Hashem says, "Yeah, sure. If there's 30 good people in the cities, I will not destroy the cities." And everyone's like, okay, sounds good, sounds good. But another question I also want to ask, what if there's 20 good people? And Hashem's like, "Yeah, okay. If there's 20 good people in the cities, I will not destroy the cities." And Abraham's like, "Please don't get mad, don't get mad, don't get mad, don't get mad, don't get mad. I have one more question. Please don't get mad at me. What if there's just 10 good people in those cities?" And Hashem's like, "Okay, final answer. If there are 10 good people in those cities, I will not destroy the cities at all." Turns out, though, there's not 10 good people in those cities. And in fact, the Parsha flips to show us the one good person in Sdom, Lot, who was sitting by the gate of the city when 2 angels come to the city. And Lot sees them and he greets them. He says, "Oh, please come over. I want you to come to my house. I'll give you some food. I'll make you comfortable." And they say, "Oh no, that's fine. We'll just sleep in the middle of the road." And Lot's like, "That's a terrible idea. That sounds extremely unsafe. And besides, I'm happy to have you over. There's no need for you to sleep in the middle of the road. I have a guest room. I'd love you to stay over. Please come to my house. They say, okay, fine, if you insist. And the angels come to Lot's house, and he makes them a meal. He gives them some matzah, because who doesn't like some matzah? And they're crunching on the matzah when all the other people in Sodom come knocking on Lot's door, and they're like, hey, Lot, we heard you have some guests, Lot. Bring out your guests, Lot. We want to beat up your guests. We want to hurt your guests. And Lot opens up the door just wide enough for himself to slip out. He closes the door behind him. He says, hey, can you guys stop being terrible people for just 5 minutes? He says, these are my guests. They're in my house. I am protecting them. I will not allow you to hurt my guests. And frankly, you shouldn't want to, because it's so awful for you to not only want to hurt another human being, but to go out of your way to try to hurt people. That's so bad. Just stop. And the people of Sodom are like, who died and made you king, Lot? You're not the boss of us. You think you're so much better than us? You think you can tell us who to hurt and who not to hurt? Well, you can't boss us around, Lot. Now we're going to hurt you even worse than we were going to hurt them. And they're all getting close and trying to hurt Lot. So the angels quickly open up the door and they grab Lot. They yank him inside. They shut the door. And they make a big bright light outside Lot's house so that all the people outside are blinded by the light and they can't even find where Lot's door is. So they can't hurt anyone. And the angels say, listen, Lot, it's time to go. Time's up. Hashem sent us to destroy the city. Clearly really bad. And we are going to save you because you're a good person. But you got to get your family together and get out of here. So Lot calls up his in-laws and he's like, guys, God is destroying the city. We have to leave. And like, God is destroying the city. You're such a weird joker, Lot. Stop being such a class clown. God is destroying the city. Yeah, whatever, man. And the angels are like, listen, Lot, if they're not coming, they're not coming. You got to just take whoever will come with you. So Lot takes his wife and his 2 daughters, and the angels grab them up by the hands and drag them outside the city. And the angels are like, listen, you got to run up to the mountains over there. Do not stop. Do not slow down. Do not turn around. Do not look back. If you slow down for even a second, we can't help you. If you slow down, you don't run out of the city fast enough, you're going to get caught up in the whole city being destroyed. It's tough luck. So you got to run as fast as you can. And Lot looks at the mountains they're pointing. He's like, listen, I know how fast I can run. I can't run up to those mountains in time. But there's another city right over there it's such a small place that it's called Soar, which means small place. It's so small, it's probably not even worth you destroying it. How about you just don't destroy that little city, Soar, and I can run to there. And the angels are like, you know what? Fine. You can run to Soar. We won't destroy Soar, but you got to get a move on because we can't do anything until you get out of here. So Lot and his daughters and his wife, they start running and running and running and running. And while they're running, Lot's wife says, hang on. And she stops and she turns around and she slows down and she looks back and she turns into a statue made of salt. And Lot and his daughters keep on running and running and running. They get all the way to Tsoar, the little place, the little city Tsoar. And they're like, you know what? This is really scary. There's fire falling down from the sky. And we've got the energy to keep running. So they keep running and running, running all the way up into the mountains where the angels first said to go. And they hide out in a cave in the mountains. The Parsha takes us back to Abraham. And now Abraham and Sarah go to a place called Gerar. And they play their classic trick of pretending to be brother and sister again. And the king of Gerar, Avimelech, believes them. And he sees that Sarah's really pretty. He's like, oh, I want to marry her. And he's planning a wedding. And that night, Avimelech goes to sleep. And he has a dream. And in his dream, Hashem says, hey, fun fact, Avimelech, you're going to die because you're trying to marry Sarah, who's already married to Abraham. And Avimelech's, whoa, what? They're married? He's like, listen, Hashem, it's not my fault. She told me he's her brother. He told me she's his sister. I believe them. I never would have tried to marry her if I knew they were married to each other. I'm sorry. And Hashem's like, listen, I know you weren't doing this on purpose, which is why I'm warning you now in your dream, so that you can still call off the wedding and apologize to them and make it right. So the next day, Avimelech wakes up. He says, hey, Abraham and Sarah, I'm kind of mad at you for tricking me and pretending to be brother and sister. Why'd you do that? And Abraham's like, to be honest, I did it because I don't trust you. And in my experience, Sarah's really pretty. I figured you might want to murder me in order to marry her. And I actually like not being murdered. So I figured it was better to just lie to you. Sorry. And Avimelech's like, okay, well, I'm also sorry for trying to marry Sarah. Here are a bunch of presents for me to show how sorry I am to both of you. And Abraham prays to Hashem to be nice to Avimelech. Everything's good. Abraham and Sarah go home. And Sarah has a baby, just like Hashem said. And they name the baby Yitzchak, just like Hashem suggested. And when Yitzchak is 8 days old, he has a brit milah, just like every Jewish boy. And when he's a little bit older, when he gets on to eating solid human food instead of baby food, they throw him a big party. And after the party, Sarah says, hey, Abraham, I want you to kick out Yishmael and Hagar. And Abraham's like, what? Yishmael's my son. I love him. I don't want to kick him out. And Hashem says, hey, listen, Abraham, I think it's really great that you love your son Yishmael, and that's important. But to be honest, Yishmael is old enough to move out now, and Yitzchak needs your full attention. And Hashem says, I will protect Yishmael. I will take care of him. I will watch over him. I will keep him safe. I will give him many blessings. I will give him a great nation, but let him move out now, like Sarah says. So Abraham takes a bottle of water and some food, and he gives it to Hagar and Yishmael, and they move out. And they start traveling through the desert. And as they're going, their water bottle runs out of water. And they're very upset because they think they're going to die of thirst. They have no more water. And Yishmael sits down and starts to cry. And Hagar kind of dumps him under a bush. And she goes off and turns her back. She's like, I don't want to watch him die of thirst. And she goes off and turns her back and starts to cry somewhere else. And then an angel says, hey, Hagar, Hashem noticed that your son Yishmael over there, look over there, is upset. And Hashem wants to help Yishmael. So you're going to go back to your kid, hold his hand, take care of him, be a good mom, and you're going to go back to Yishmael. And guess what? You don't need to worry about dying of thirst because there's water right here. You just need to look. And the angel helps her see that there is a well of water right there. Turns out they're not out of water. So she refills her water bottle and they have water. And they're very happy. And Yishmael grows up to be an archer. He's good at bows and arrows. And Hagar finds him a nice girl to marry from Egypt. They're very happy. And then the Parsha brings us back to Abraham. And Hashem says, hey, Abraham, I want you to take your son, the only one who still lives with you, Yitzchak, you love him very much. You're going to take him. You're going to go up that mountain over there that I'll show you. And you are going to give him as a sacrifice to Hashem. This is a very concerning command. But Abraham's like, okay, well, I guess I have to do whatever Hashem says. And he takes a torch to start a fire. And he takes some wood to make a big, nice fire. He takes his human sacrifice knife or animal sacrifice knife, and he takes his son Yitzchak. And he and Yitzchak head up. He's like, hey, come on, kid, we're going on a field trip. They head up towards the mountain that Hashem showed him. And they're walking for a few days. And Yitzchak's looking at all the stuff he brought and doing some math in his head. And Yitzchak's like, okay, Abraham, Dad? And Abraham's like, yeah, I'm here. And Yitzchak's like, so I see we've got the wood, and we've got the torch, and we've got the knife, but where's the sheep, Dad? Where's the sheep that we're going to sacrifice to Hashem? And Abraham's like, oh, don't worry about that. Hashem will find us a sheep. Don't you worry one thing about the sheep. And they keep going, and they get up to the top of the mountain, and Abraham builds a mizbeach, a special table for giving sacrifices to Hashem. And he piles up some wood on the mizbeach, and he ties Yitzchak on top of the wood. Yitzchak at this point is probably like, I don't have a good feeling about this. And Abraham picks up the big sharp knife, and he's raising the knife, and he's all ready to do the sacrifice. And an angel says, Abraham, stop! And Abraham stops, and the angel says, good. The angel says, Abraham, this was just a test. This was a test to see if you would really listen to Hashem no matter what, no matter how difficult or painful it was. Congratulations, you passed. But speaking of listening to Hashem, Hashem does not want you to hurt Yitzchak. Hashem does not want you to harm a hair on Yitzchak's head. In fact, Hashem will never, ever, 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 ever ask for human sacrifice. And Hashem will never, ever, 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 ever want a parent to do something to harm their child. Hashem wants you to take good care of Yitzchak and protect him and keep him safe and comfortable. And Hashem, the angel says, you and Yitzchak are going to be very blessed. You're going to have a wonderful, amazing life. Yitzchak is going to have some very special, important children. And in order for him to live to do that, you've got to take good care of him. Do not harm him. Do not hurt him. Good job in passing your test. And Abraham looks up and he sees a boy sheep with those horns that can turn into shofars. Those big, long, twisty horns are caught in the bush. And Abraham's like, wow, I guess Hashem really did find us a sheep. So Abraham takes that boy sheep and he sacrifices that instead. And Abraham goes home. Yitzchak is safe. And that is the end of Parshat Vayera. Shabbat Shalom.